Well, my iWatch and iPhone says it's 8:12. So, good morning, Greene County. We are here to talk about reassessment and Greene County property values.
What's your name?
Exactly. My name is Christian Carroll.
My name is Bill O'Brien.
His name is Bill O'Brien. And we are here to do what? Talk about reassessment and Greene County property values. We're going to kind of get through the reassessment portion a little bit quicker than usual. I think that this is a story that, or a process that many have heard. We've made some slight tweaks, so we'll kind of highlight those as we go. But we've got some kind of things to brag upon ourselves and brag upon Greene County for. So, what is reassessment? What is reassessment, Bill?
Well, reassessment it's a lot of things. Mostly it's basically it takes place over a 2-year period. It starts at an odd year, goes through the next even year. And it basically means that the assessor's office, values every single parcel in Greene County, of which there are over 127,000.
That seems like a lot. Is that, are we a fairly large county for Missouri?
We are.
Really? So what's the biggest?
I'm glad they enjoy it.
Well, SPS does. The smallest county being, does anybody know? Well, it's right there on the screen. I can't ask this trivia question, but the smallest county is Worth County, way up on the Iowa border with in between 1 and 1,500 parcels. So to put that in comparison, Southern Hills is bigger than their county in size, parcel number, and value. So it's quite a disparate. It's quite we see that as an opportunity for us to serve everyone in Greene County by doing as good a job as we can, because what we do is very important. The cycle starts over every August 1st of the odd year. So what month are we in, Bill?
August.
We're in August, so we're starting over. So we're already thinking about 2027. Now, we assess property and we assess what we call market value. So where would we get that market value? Where do you think we would get that market value, Bill? Do we get that from the realtors and everybody when they sell their home? Are we just told,
or if
hey,
we lived in any of the other 38 states that have that law, that they just give that data to them?
No. Yeah.
We don't live in that state.
So we are not only assessors, we're also detectives. We're also investigators. We kind of have to see through the fog. We also send out letters to property owners when a sale has transferred. So we'll send it. Conan, do we send it to the owner, the buyer, or the seller, or both?
The buyer.
So we send a letter to the buyer. So if anyone has bought a home recently, where's Janice? No, not here? Okay. We always ask, hey, please send it back. It's helpful to us. It's not going to hurt you.
And it's helpful to your neighbors.
It is, because it helps us model the county, because we do mass market appraisal for the entire county, and that information just goes into helping us set our cost tables and valuations fairly across the county and the cities. So we are a non-charter county. So the assessor's office of Greene County, we do not have access to MLS sales data. Everybody and their brother and their cousin, my brother included, is a realtor, and they all have all this wonderful data. But I go to lunch with my brother all the time, and he says, "Oh, look at that house over there. It's sold." Never mind. He won't even tell me. He won't even tell his own brother, because I'm the enemy. It's like he's Luke Skywalker and I'm Darth Vader in his mind. But we'll talk more about sales letters and questionnaires a little bit later.
So majority of the time when this new period here, August 1st, happens, data collectors and appraisers on the team are now out in the community, and you'll see them in our brightly colored cars. There they are. They will, they're collecting data. They're making sure that every 2 years we've got to be on every parcel, and they're making sure, boots on the ground, taking 3 photos, right, center, and left, and peeking in the backyard sometimes, just to make sure that we have all the right information on
appropriately.
So is it just a drive-by?
Yes,
No,
of course.
it is not.
No, it's not a drive-by. So we actually are required to get out of our vehicles and walk. Elijah, do you just drive in your car and look at 150 parcels a day? No. See? It's no. So we get out, we take 3 photos if we can, sometimes 4. We'll take a couple of sides, we'll take a straight-on photo, and update any changes. So we have a mobile system that gives us a mobile sketch that we can take in the field, kind of take a look, see did they add a deck, is there a new addition, what major things might have changed on the house.
And then
And
once we've got all that data in the spring, value change notice will go.
ooh, wow. Cindy Stein would say this is a terrible display for a presentation, but this is not for you to read. This is for you to go to our website and take a look at, or go to your mailbox in March. We'll say March. We'll say March. But there's a lot. We kind of highlighted this just to highlight how much information is really on there, and we want to be as clear as and transparent as we can to this process, because it's the information that the property owner needs that we want to make sure that they have to make the appropriate decisions or spark the appropriate conversations about their property and our valuations. So there's the front page, lots of stuff there. Most importantly, on the back page, there are 3 items listed there on how to appeal a value. What would be the first option, Bill?
First one would be an informal hearing. It's the first step of the process.
That sounds like a process, like
Non-threatening.
the
It's
word
very
hearing.
non-threatening. Informal.
So what could that be? Does that mean I have to come down? I have to make an appointment?
We have a lot of options. Christian.
You can just make a phone call.
You can walk in. We've got a public room open from 8 to 4 every day.
Yep. Or we could have a conversation on the phone. So we'll talk about some calls and call volumes a little bit later here, but a lot of times it's just a conversation. They can explain some things to us. We might explain some things to you. Question as we go, Mr.
Is that
Doherty.
where you tell me where the heck you came up with my value?
That's where that sounds like you've been involved in conversations like that. Yes, we will explain various parameters that go into that. We'll talk about the mass market cost modeling that we use for that area. We'll talk about features of that neighborhood, which might be like position properties.
Or the bonus room that we found after having a conversation.
Okay. So
I didn't mean to derail you. It was a song.
And I thought I was derailed.
So in 2025, we had almost 2,000 informal hearings. And that
From May 14th to June 27th.
And then our informal hearings, now again, I can hear you, Cindy. So what we're looking at here is every one of those spike points is a different year, a different reassessment year. So what happened almost over a decade ago in 2010 and 2011? It was bad. We had some hangovers and some leftover valuations from 2008 and 2009, and everybody thought the valuation should go down, but they kind of stayed where they were, and that caused a spike in appeals. But for 2025, you can see we had 15% value increase roughly across the county. We had almost 2,000 informal hearings, and then you can see the value increases from prior reassessments from 2011 going all the way back up to 2019.
So really, it doesn't really matter how much the value goes up. The value really doesn't change people's, tolerance or anger levels. It's really larger market forces, subprime market crisis. Even COVID really didn't move the needle at all.
So let's take a look at the informal hearing cycle that we just went through in a very excellent manner, and how that looked day by day and week by week. So one of the things to brag on Bill, and I wasn't supposed to say this, but all of these numbers come from his hard work and diligence. So we have realized for many years that the State Tax Commission has told us that we need approximately 60 employees to do our job as it's statutorily laid out. We have 38 right now. And we said, if we want to get, we need to prove that we can justify and keep those employees busy. And so we started collecting data. So we started collecting data on phone calls, on walk-ins and personal property. And this kind of highlights the impact of what some of these deadlines had for us. So Brent had a wonderful interview with Miss Ashley Reynolds with KY3 on June 9th of this year. And then 4 days later, we had a spike of 263 informal hearings that week. That was the deadline for our informal hearings. And then you'll see another deadline there July 14th was the deadline for the Board of Equalization filings, and you'll see that that was quite a huge spike there. We had maybe 60 or 60, well, we had 101 the week before, and then we had 319 filed on the 14th of July. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
You did.
There's
Doing great.
Thank you, buddy. Another one,
So
right
this
there,
is-
I can
this
hear
is
you.
Just to show you
Yeah,
that peak. It's that Friday deadline. It's so much farther out of line than everything else. And all the folks there in the back, they do a wonderful job there.
so we've had a situation this year where if someone says, my house is too high, I think you need to come back and look at my house, and I want you to come inside. And that's a common misconception that we had the ability to go inside your home. We can't. Statute says we can be on your property, but not in your property, in the dwelling. So we had 172 property owners in Greene County raise their hand and say, hey, I want you to come back and take a look at the floor in my kitchen. The renter that was in here just let the water run. It's all buckled, various things. Elijah, what was the most common issue that you saw in the requested interior inspections? Okay. Okay.
For the
Ooh,
folks listening at home,
right.
it's deferred.
it's deferred maintenance. Siblings. Deferred maintenance, mold, water damage, things like that. So the interior inspection, it must be requested by the property owner. We schedule it. And because everyone did such a fantastic job, I want to say their names: Anna DeLong, Elijah Fry, Tori Tolley, Preston Ulrich, Harrison Hemphill, and Lawrence Ribchek. They all did a fantastic job, and they're the backbone of the interior inspection process. Those are our 6 data collectors, and they do a fantastic job. So, yes, thank you very much, because you'll see that it was a very compressed time frame. So we had 576 Board of Equalization hearings this
is
year.
the next step in the process.
This is step 2 of 3, and what does it look like, Bill? This is what it looks like. We borrowed Shane's room. He was gracious to let us borrow his room and take it over for a week or so. And it was a little bit different this year. Last year, we did it in this room. And the BOE members sat up here. And you would think, well, this is a very convenient room. The clerk's office is in this building. The assessor's office is in this building. Everybody can just kind of walk up. There's plenty of seating. There's plenty of waiting. There's parking right across the street. But this can be a little intimidating. You know, when someone's standing up there and looking down on you, and you've got to start a process as a property owner that you don't do every year or maybe haven't done your entire lifetime, this can be a little bit of a imposing room. So with the clerk's office assistance, we were able to take advantage of setting up down at the election center, and we set up card tables, and it was a nice, level playing field. There were a couple days we had quite a bit of people in there. We had quite a bit of hearings there. So you'll see property owners in the back 2 rows. You'll see the circle where we set up for the board members, and it worked out really, really well. So we had 576 hearings this year. That seems like a lot. It was a little bit of a spike, but we were able to deal with that. Now, it was a little difficult this year because the deadline to file your BOE appeal is the second Monday in July. Well, it's never going to be later than it was this year. This year it was the 14th of July, and we have to have all of our hearings done by the end of July. So it's a real compressed time frame to make that happen. Back in the late aughts, like 18, 19, how do you say that? The late
08,
teens?
09.
The late
The
teens?
aughts.
The aughts?
Yeah.
Okay. So statute changed it. It used to be the end of June. It used to be the 30th of June, and now it is the second Monday in July. So it's a real time crunch. So we did an excellent job, I totally feel. So that just really compresses it and affects our our ability to defend the values, especially in commercial properties, which can be quite a lengthy process. Yep.
The strategy that some of citizens use in determining the date that they choose to file.
Oh, well, we're talking about the burden of the assessor's office. The clerk's office had a huge burden as well, because they are the secretary of the board, their office is. And so the question, thank you, Conan, the question was, can you expand or talk about the strategy or the process that some property owners used during this BOE filing period? And it's basically, we saw about 70% of all filings occurred in the last 2 days of the filing period. So the 13th and the 14th, we had a majority of our filings done. And again, we had some limited option dates for hearing dates, so we were really up against it. So they filed timely, but they filed strategically. I would probably do that if I were a property owner as well. So I have no complaints about that, but we're just in a very difficult period where we might get 100 filings on the 14th of July, and then we have to try to defend those in the next 7 to 10 business days.
And I'd be a little remiss if we didn't talk about the board itself. So the board is 8 members. It's from citizens of Greene County that are appointed by our commission. They do a fantastic job. They are not well paid. It's not well funded. It's $25 a meeting.
It's what? Yes,
City and the
yes.
church, yeah.
There's 5 from the city, 3 from the county. So a total of 8.
And it's completely volunteer. They have backgrounds in this business, whether that's real estate or appraisal or transportation, things like that. Joe Costello joined the board so that we could have a quorum this year. So shout out to him for rejoining the board, and for Shane and Amanda for making that happen. It truly is,
It's a real team process to get it all together. So we talked about,
Yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah.
call data.
Yeah.
So there's kind of random things, butterfly flapped its wing in St. Louis, and we feel the effects here, right? So these are some little sprinkles of interesting things. They're interesting to me, maybe not to you. With the help of the IT department, we were able to pull up some call data. And so during our informal process time, we had 3,600 calls that our appraiser team took during those 6 weeks. You see their names there on the left. And then just to compare and contrast that with our normal main assessor number, the number that comes in and flows to personal property and all the departments, through the first 6 months of the year, we had almost 26,000 calls delivered. And last year we had 44,000 calls total. So it's a lot of calls, and it's people answering the phones, and it's something that needs to be recognized. So we recognize those folks, or at least we try to every day. Some of the other random effects. So Springfield, as you probably are well aware, in the spring passed a law that said that if your tags were expired, the police could see that and pull you over and tow your car. So that affected our business. We had a 73% increase in walk-ins in March over last year. So over 5,000 people came in to get their cars up to date. And as you can see there on the far right column there, we're just tons and tons of traffic into our office, and also on the phones as well.
Yeah. So these changes, we talk about the Board of Equalization for real estate, but personal property has to carry a lot of the weight as well, just for things like that from the city of Springfield. So one of our favorite quotes of the great Lex Luthor, like him or hate him, you can print money, manufacture diamonds, and people are a dime a dozen. It's hard for me to read this without doing my Lex Luthor voice, but they will always need land. It's the one thing they'll never make any more of. And in Superman 2, his deal was he sold out Superman because he wanted the 3 evil superheroes to give him, he had an affinity for lakefront property, and he wanted Australia. So property values, it's not a guarantee that they're going to go up, but there's no more land. It's already out there. And we've got all kinds of factors that drive the market. What do you think might drive the market, Brent Johnson?
A lot is drive the market. Interest rates.
Okay.
It could be, if there's a new factory coming in, people moving in.
Okay.
So, buy homes for investment.
Yeah, he wasn't ready for that question, but that's very true. All of those are very true.
Pandemic.
Coastal migration. So we've seen a lot of that as well. So again, we've discussed that we don't get MLS data, and we only get the information when those questionnaires are returned. So let's talk about the housing values
is,
in Greene County.
Yeah. So This is, again, Cindy, my apologies, but this is not to just study. This is just to get the sense of where we are. Far this side.
1986, far
all the
far
way to
left.
2025. So this is a long span of time. 40 years for 35 years, 30 years. Springfield was very even Steven. Not a whole lot going on, right? So we were dealing with 3 different time periods. All right, excellent.
And also to point out, current assessment that we use today started in 1985. So that kind of gives you an idea of the timeline from when.
Yep.
Today.
The modern Missouri assessment process started in 1985. Thank you, Brandon. All right, so we're dealing with 3 periods over the last 10 years. A lot of people don't know this or don't realize there was actually a pretty hefty increase pre-COVID, and it was a 32% increase in that time period. So even if you don't realize it, market prices were increasing before COVID. COVID happened and it just went insane, 50% in 3 years, straight up basically. And then post-COVID, even now, as we're cooling off and interest rates have dampened things, we're still running at 11% increase. So in dealing with all of this, when you get a value change notice and you've lived in your house for 40 or 50 years and it's gone up 1%, 2%, 1%, 0.5%, 1%, and now it's my house that I paid $162,000 for in 2016 now has a number on there that's $350,000. They're like, what? Like, this is not the life that I signed up for, right? So, yeah. So since 2016, final number, 115%, 115.32%. So just it's pretty amazing what we've lived through here in the last 10 years. And then so it's our job by statute, by state constitution, to follow that and to register that and to acknowledge that and to put that in paper and hand that to the clerk and say, this is what our county is valued at.
Mm-hmm.
And so this year, the valuation of the county went up $1 billion based on this reassessment. That's not nice.
For the folks at home, that's Conan Doherty clapping. Conan Doherty with a D.
So all of our residential parcels were valued at 4.2 billion, commercial at 2.2. And then
Question. What do the percentages represent? Because they clearly don't represent the dollar.
They do not. That's an excellent question, Alan. Alan asked, what are the percentages on this page represent? And the percentages are residential 19%, commercial 32%, and agricultural 12%. Those are the percentages of the market value that we apply to get the assessed value. So if you have a home that's worth $100,000 market value, we apply a 19% residential rate. And so your assessed value is $19,000. And then the levies, as they're all put together, are applied as Shane gets the levies put together. He gives those levies to Alan. Alan puts those levy percentages. Usually it's around sometimes high 4s, mid 5s, depending on what part of the county you live in, what jurisdiction, what taxing district, what fire, what school district. So it's the levy that is applied to your assessed value that generates the dollar amount on your tax bill.
And to clarify that number, $4 billion for that's the assessed value, the 19 value.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Numbers, those are statutes.
The percentages are set by statute. Yes. Correct. And it's those percentages that we've seen a lot of talk about possible changes to the taxing code, to property tax, to personal property tax in Missouri. There's a lot of state reps that are ringing the bell that needs to be reevaluated. That may happen, and that's for another day and another discussion. We're talking about the rules that we have right now, and these are what they are, fair or not. So those are our big numbers for the year. Now, where do your property taxes go? Well, you'll see it broken out on your tax bill up in the upper right-hand corner, but that pie chart, Who wants to take a stab at what that blue section is?
SPF.
So this is a Springfield, this is an example, a random example of a Springfield-based property. We know that because we see R12 schools, City of Springfield, library. I don't see a fire on there, but I think there's a fire somewhere. Oh, well, there you go. I'm a county guy, so you'll have to forgive me. But that's a big chunk. And, you know, the children are our future. So that's kind of a breakout there. So when somebody says libraries cost too much money, I put a finger up to that. I question that. So that's a quick down and dirty what our assessment was and kind of a snapshot of valuations. So we have the collector, we have the assessor, I see the clerk. Does anyone have any questions for Bill or myself or any of the three elected officials that graced us today? I see a question. Could you state your name? No. Alan, what is your question, sir?
Why does the mean assessor's office and that terrible collector's office keep raising my taxes?
Okay, the question for it's that. Well, I'll include you. The question was, why do you keep raising our taxes? Well, my boss, Brent Johnson, has a mantra. Says that we don't deal with taxes. We're not involved in your taxes. We're involved with value. And if you make an investment, you probably want your investment to increase. And we're driven by market statutes and market values and market parameters. And so a lot of times your value of your purchase of your home, of your land, it's going to increase in value. It's that increased value when it's applied to those. Oh, I didn't do it the right way. Can you make me a full screen again? So it's those levies that are impacting that. So if I'm a school district and my budget is $1 million and I've got it set for $1 million, and all of a sudden the valuation of property comes in and it's 15% higher, all of a sudden I've got 15% more value that I've applied my levy to. Well, technically I should take my levy and dial it back so that I still get the $1 million I need to operate and do my service to the community. But that is sometimes a delayed reaction. So it feels like our valuations have a direct impact on your taxes. They really don't. We always, I think, from both offices, if someone has a question about that levy number, get involved in the levy discussions.
They really love that.
Yeah.
Go to a school board meeting and tell them exactly what you told them. They love that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Tonight.
they do.
Tonight's the meeting. Go tonight.
That's not why we're here today. It's just serendipitous. But it's just kind of one of those factors that is beyond our control, Alan. So we're statutorily required to do what we do, and then other statutes should be hopefully taking care of the other process.
So then just to clarify, those 10 to 12 political subdivisions in which you live in Greene County have a direct impact, much more of a direct impact than the assessor's office, clearly the collector's office. What your real estate taxes will be in 2025.
So to repeat that, Alan was saying,
Alan, I said,
Alan Isett, the elected official, was just commenting that it's the political subdivisions that are within your taxing district that have a more direct impact, and they do. All politics is local. So what happens in Washington doesn't necessarily always trickle down here, but the local political subdivisions have a much bigger impact to our tax bills than, say, something that happens in Washington.
Wait, so you tell me that if we lower the values, those guys could increase their levies and my taxes wouldn't change?
That is correct, because again, they have a budget of $1 million in my example previously. So if we lowered your valuation by 5%, they're not going to suddenly run on $950,000. They're going to dial that levy, when they do their budget analysis, because we provide, in Form 11 and Form 11A, we provide the valuations to these political subdivisions. So they know the valuations for the properties in the area that they serve. So they have that calculation, and it's that information that they use to set their budgets at this time of the year. So it's a very compressed time frame, and it all happens very rapidly.
1 minute, she had a question.
Yes.
I know property taxes aren't necessarily based on the income from revenues, but because it, disproportionately affects lower income individuals, or those that are fixed on, fixed income, particularly senior citizens.
Mhm.
Is there anything on steps to, assist them in their property taxes? Either by some sort of forgiveness of part of it or a payment plan so that they can stay in their homes?
Well, home ownership is probably the one dream that every American, when I was growing up in the early 70s, that was thought to be the end all be all. Get up, have a job, buy a home. That's the American dream. And we don't want to disrupt that at all. Whether or not the person would qualify for the SB 190 or any other changes that's run through the collector's office. And the question was, what is done to help people stay in their homes as far as on fixed incomes and property values increasing. So if they're of an age, then they can qualify for that. We always recommend there are certain state options that might allow like a senior citizens refund or things for veterans as well. That's all run through the Department of Revenue through Jefferson City, not through the counties. But SB 190, I think, is a good step, a good start, but that's currently all we have. It's time. Thank you for your attention and your attendance. Thank you.